Welcome to the BS Reports. Today, it's 5 questions with me. So there have been a few articles from Investigate West, a lot of articles from them actually, TV segments, and more on IDOC as of late. Not just on PREA, but on the general treatment of offenders as well. Feel free to see some of that, which is on the channel, about Bryan Hamlet, Kevin Segayo, and Milo Warnock too. Now, please understand that I know there are many more who I also need to bring up as well. I apologize. I've been trying to do the best I can to recognize everybody, and I know there's a lot of people out there with no voice. So I have not forgotten you. You are still in the forefront of my mind. All this. So in light of some of these things, let's get to the questions. Before starting, um, as you know, if you want more in-depth information, you of course can go through the channel and see all the different things I've been documenting. Hi, this is 5 questions. First one is in your paperwork for termination, it says you inhibited a PREA investigation. Is that true? That is not true. When I had electric communication from an offender, in this situation it was Miss Weiskircher, she said that some stuff may be happening as a hypothetical. When I received that, I immediately contacted my investigations guy. His name was, at the time, he's a Corporal Anderson. I gave him the name of who gave it to me, where I suspected things may be happening, and that I had no names, I had no times, I literally had nothing other than a hypothetical that was given to me. He asked for an investigation report, which would be normal if I had any information, but all I had were guesses. I let him know I was working on getting more information and would follow up with him in the next day or so, but that was all I had. And if I requested that he look at the cameras, because I suspected it was in the last 24 hours, but still I had nothing concrete. After I reported that to him, the next morning, a Sergeant Anderson came in, Sergeant Oddens came in and asked that I do an IR. I did. I provided him with the same information I provided the corporal. Oddens said that wasn't enough. So I was like, well, that's all I have right now because I need to find out more information. He didn't take it, so he said I needed to rewrite it. So I rewrote it and gave it to him again and said, here you go. And I put in there, also spoke to Dax Anderson. Apparently that wasn't enough because, like I said, I had no information. I hadn't talked to the offender. They'd not provided me with any more information than that. And so when I saw that in my paperwork saying that I inhibited or stopped an investigation that I literally started, that was extremely disappointing and surprising. But in hindsight, now many years later, it turns out that these sergeants were involved in PREA. So there's that. The next question, was I insubordinate? So the answer to that is yes. We were directed by leadership to not report PREA, told to stop sending them reports, to send them reports with no information report numbers. I was absolutely insubordinate. I also would report denial of medical treatment to offenders and would disregard their directions on that as well. The other thing is inappropriate communication. I already did a whole piece on the Woodland conspiracy. Essentially, that's me documenting drugs in the community and in the facility, and my leadership saying to themselves, we need to talk about this, and ignoring it. So I absolutely was insubordinate. The next one, how hard or easy was it to report PREA as a civilian? It was extremely difficult. Every place that I talked to whether it was ISP, whether it was IDOC, whether it was with the PREA auditors. Each one of them refused to take information, do follow-up, give me any information, period. Um, Specifically, when I contacted IDOC's SIU, I was accused of being a disgruntled employee, even though I stated I had information about what was happening about women being raped in prison. They said it was only stuff that I was seeing on the news. I was like, no. When it came to Idaho State Police, everything was one way. I kept reporting, contacting them with nothing back. They literally refused to take the information. And when I reported it again to Director Derek this spring of 25, when I met with her and the IDOC attorney, they basically said everything was fine. I wrote them back and said not one person contacted me to speak to me about anything, which is like, so that kind of gives me an idea that you really don't care. Additionally, there's a position open within IDOC for the PREA position, which would be the people who actually do the right thing and talk to people. Yes, I did submit for that. Do you think I will actually hear from them? My bets are no. How many victims? Wow, there's got to be hundreds, which is terrifying when you think about it. The IDOC has done literally nothing to protect these women and men who have bravely come forward. And this 100 number is based on people who actually want to come forward. There are literally hundreds and hundreds more who are too fearful to say anything because they know what the culture is like. It's really, really unfortunate. So the last question, what do you want from all of this? Well, the easy answer is transparency and accountability. Currently, families are afraid to come forward with information about their loved ones who are currently in prison, who are suffering from denial of medication, have been victims of extreme violence and or rape. And IDOC inhibits that communication. Offenders are told they can only communicate so many times. Everything is restricted. And granted, it is prison, but we live in an era and an age where these things should not be restricted. People should not be denied medication because somebody just doesn't want to get them out of the cell. That's a problem. And when it comes to the PREA is a symptom of the larger issue, which is the fact there is no transparency or accountability. And there won't be unless something changes. So the biggest thing that I would want from all of this is for there to be a dramatic shift. And even as of today, which is the 11th, I believe, of December, IDOC has not made any statements other than saying there's zero tolerance for PREA. They have not apologized to any of the victims, and there are more who they know about. They have not supported them. They're refusing to be accountable in any way. And that's not what this is. That's not what we do. That's what I want. To these 5 questions today, I suppose another question that has to be asked is how can we as society expect those who are attempting to rehabilitate and be reintroduced into society, how can we actually expect them to want to do this when they're actively being harmed by the very institution that's been asked to rehabilitate them? I've been very clear with my messaging with IDOC and those who I've been speaking to that there must be both complete transparency and accountability. And at this point in time, that just is not happening. This is the BS Reports. Have a good day out there. Please be safe.